Park is a world-class riding facility known all over Canada, but not many know the story of the man behind the park.
It started with an interview of Carl. I thought I'd known him for 30 years, but then I realized, or more, there was much more that I didn't know.
There's very few people who I can say were instrumental in building the motorcycle sport in Canada, not only from a racer's point of view, from a corporate point of view, from a media point of view.
August 4th, 1944, Carl Bastedo was born in Hamilton, Ontario. Growing up, he looked up to his brother Larry, who got him involved in motocross at a young age.
My brother was involved in racing motorcycles, both ice racing, racing on dirt, and they started a club in Hamilton called the Steel City Riders. My brother and Jim Kelly and Bob Kelly got together and formed this club, and it was an off-road riding club, which was very unusual. Most of the clubs were street riders. So basically going with him to their club events, watching them ride, that's how I got interested in the sport.
Well, because of my interest in motorcycles, and Carl, my younger brother, obviously just come along with me.
I was 15 before they got me a motorcycle and taught me how to ride it. And I immediately got interested in riding motocross. It was called scrambles at the time.
I was happy to welcome him into our group of riders, and it was nice to have a brother alongside.
I was the youngest person to ever obtain a racing license. I turned 16 August the 4th, and the first race I rode was at Copetown in September.
Well, I remember him lining up and me thinking, oh, I don't know if he should be in there or not, but there was no question.
Carl Bastedo had a long and fruitful racing career, which included going overseas to compete in competitions such as the International Six-Day Enduro in 1967. His favorite racing memory happened the next year.
What it was is we made friends with some motocross riders from New England and decided to have a challenge match. So I represented Canada on two of the teams at the races, 1968 and 1969, and those were probably the highlights of my career.
Little did Carl know, his journey in the motocross world was only just beginning. Carl graduated high school and immediately was hired by Ford. Within a year of working there, he was hungry for entrepreneurship and wanted his own shop.
I started my own motorcycle shop in Niagara Falls, and we took on the Yamaha brand at the time, which was Dealey Imports from Vancouver, and motorcycle sales were just booming at the time. This was the growth of the motorcycle industry.
Yamaha motorcycles were credited with sort of bringing the dirt bike in, and in 1968 they came out with a 250 Yamaha. Carl was the first guy to actually ride one in sanctioned competition.
In 1969 I approached the Canadian Motorcycle Association and I said, I would like to have what is called schoolboy racing. They do it in Europe, in Great Britain, and they've even started it in California. And schoolboy racing is young kids, 10, 12, 9 years old, racing in motocross. And they were just aghast at the very idea of us having somebody under 16 years of age in a race. And we held the first schoolboy race ever in Canada in Niagara Falls in October of 1969. And that was the start of schoolboy racing. After about 5 years of being in the business and racing and all of this, Mike Manley visited me, and his company, Manley, had just taken on the Kawasaki distributorship for Ontario. And he asked me if I would come to Toronto and be the sales manager for Ontario for Kawasaki motorcycles. So I agreed to do that. I sold my shop and basically moved to Toronto. With Kawasaki, it was kind of a big time position. You know, you're sort of a big time executive. I had a new car all the time, a big expense account, making very good money. And I could still pursue my racing. I was always interested in motocross, so I got the company to have a motocross team.
Carl hired riders from Europe to come overseas to Canada and race for the Kawasaki motocross team, which he believes was a premier race team in Canada in the early 70s.
Initially, I would take part in the races with the team, but then my job in marketing and sales at Kawasaki and sponsoring the team, it just got to be too much. And I was maybe 32, 33, so thought it was time. When I was at Kawasaki, one of the things we did two major things. We worked with the Yamaha, with Trevor Dealey actually, and John, Terry, and Mike Manley, and myself, and we formed what is called the Motorcycle and Moped Industry Council. We were always interested in having the industry work together. We also wanted a publication, a magazine. I had a friend in Niagara Falls at the time when I had my shop there, George Klesnikov's. He was the city editor of the Niagara Falls Evening Review. So I called him up and I said, George, we want you to start a motorcycle magazine. And it's going to be we want it called Cycle Canada Magazine. And he started this motorcycle magazine. When I left Kawasaki, that's where I went. I went to Cycle Canada Magazine as marketing manager for the magazine.
He left around the mid-70s, and then the Japanese moved in, took over the private distribution, and I became the national sales manager and marketing director. So I got to thank Carl. I would have never moved up the ladder at that company if it wasn't for Carl. And then he talked me into leaving.
And I had an idea of starting national motorcycle shows. And in 1977, we produced the first national motorcycle show at the Queen Elizabeth building in Toronto. The industry all agreed to come in the show, and it was the first national motorcycle show. It was difficult. It was difficult getting into the building. Motorcycles at that time were considered black leather jacketed hoodlums, you might say, and we were trying to, through the MIC, and we were trying to improve the image of motorcycling. And I felt that one of the best ways to do that was to have a national motorcycle show, just like an auto show or any other show. And it was very successful. And I ran those shows from 1977 through 1986, when the motorcycle industry actually took our shows over.
While out west in Calgary, Alberta, Carl met an up-and-coming rider who was still building a name for himself, but would go on to become an iconic name in Canadian motocross history.
I met and befriended a rider from Alberta, from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Ross Peterson, in 1979. I had watched Ross ride 1979 National at Copetown and was very impressed with his riding, and thought I might want to get back into sponsoring riders, because once I left Kawasaki, of course, I didn't have the team anymore.
I was an up-and-coming racer, and he was interested in helping me out, and we worked together to get down to Florida to the Winter Am Series, and I guess, as you could say, the rest is history.
The Canadian champion leading all the Americans and pulling away! Look at him go!
I worked with Ross from 1980 to 1992, actually, acting as his manager, you might say, and would attend a lot of races with Ross. I contracted with Europe to have him go to Europe quite a bit. It ended up that over the years, he won 42 Canadian national titles, and no one's ever going to hit that goal again. And so it was a great experience.
Carl, along with his business partner Brian, started producing supercross shows in 1980 and traveled all across Canada. In 1989, when the Sky Dome was announced, they both decided it was time to take their supercross show indoors.
We knew that would be a hard sell, but we had a bit of luck. And it turned out that they were not going to put the AstroTurf in until after, in July sometime, for the first Blue Jays game. And the week after the opening ceremonies, we produced Supercross in Sky Dome. So we were the first actual event in Sky Dome.
But the Sky Dome was a different story. They said you only have one day to, well, it was in those days it was $28,000 to rent the stadium per day. So all of a sudden we could build the track within 24 hours. And that's what Carl was very good at. He could make it happen within the tight guidelines.
Well, the dome's fabulous here. You know, it's spectacular. It's it's the eighth wonder of the world. It's unbelievable. What can you say? It's the nicest facility that I've ever been in, and I've been all over the world. It's beautiful.
Working Supercross is really kind of an interesting thing because it was different than all the other track races that I was at. And as a journalist, it makes you feel a lot more important. You know, when you're in a stadium and you've got people and you look up into the stands and you see the enthusiasm that the people have.
Our Supercross was doing quite well, but come along around 1989 or 1992, I believe it was, the government said that the breweries and the cigarette companies could no longer sponsor motorsports. And we had a $150,000 deal with Molson Breweries to sponsor the Supercross. So we lost that deal.
Just the fact that he put on and organized the Supercross, and over all these years, that blew me away. And he would bring, you know, these national heroes from the States to race at the races. I said, man, you got to have some, you know, balls to get these guys to come up here and race.
And my partner Brian Miles and I tried to continue on with Supercross, but by 1996 we realized that we just couldn't, after 17 years of doing it, we just didn't have the sponsorship to carry on, so we stopped running the Supercross events. I became a promoter. I kept having all these plans to do various events and enjoyed doing them. My brother and Jim Kelly and Bob Kelly were still heavily involved with the Steel City Riders Motorcycle Club in Hamilton, and they were looking for a place to ride.
When we went to see it the first time, we were impressed with the terrain itself, the hills and so on, and we were just impressed with the whole thing, and we thought, wouldn't this make a great motorcycle facility? And
they drove into this property, a motor park, and Jim Kelly said, "This is it, boys." It was a Mennonite farm, Amish, no power, no water, a well, a pump well.
When I phoned him and told him we'd found a piece of land, but we needed some money, and I was looking for him to put up $1,000, and he didn't hem and haw at all. He just said, "Okay, I'm in."
In January 1972, Jim Kelly decided to call it Motopark, and they formed a company, Motopark Inc. And I was one of 8 shareholders, owners of the property in Motopark Inc. I, myself, didn't see the property until 1975. I wanted to promote races and to see what I wanted to do with this property. So I came up here and liked what I saw. We actually started our summer camps in 1975. Right now we run 8 4.5-day summer camps in the summer, July and August. We design them we have a program called the Motor Park Academy, and that is for top riders who want to excel in the sport, and that includes a lot of physical training as well as the riding. And then we have right down to beginners on 50cc machines that probably have never raced before.
83, I received a phone call from Carl's brother Larry. Larry and I go way back. I actually worked in his motorcycle shop at one time in Hamilton. And he called me and said, hey, we need to put on a World Trials event. There was some political stuff that went on, it doesn't really matter. We're doing it at Motor Park, would you come and help do it? So myself, Larry Bastedo, and Bob Kelly, who was a past champion trials rider, again, older than I, a peer a friend of Carl's. The three of us actually laid the course out. It was interesting because people at the time said, well, I don't think Motor Park has the terrain that's suitable for a competitive trials event at the world level. Motor Park definitely held its own in offering the riders challenges. So I didn't ride it, but I laid the sections out with some help.
Were you here for when Motor Park hosts the World Championship races?
Oh yeah, and I paid for a ticket. It's not like I was, oh, I know Carl, I'll weasel my way in on anything. No, not at all. I mean, it was like, oh my goodness. Because I can only imagine, I think he's probably passed it on to me, but I don't remember. But again, came up with the capital to put that on.
I have no idea in the world why I thought that I could run a World Championship Grand Prix, but I was a promoter and, wanted to promote things, so basically said, yeah, we're going to run a World Championship, and our total budget was about $100,000. Today, if you tried to run a World Championship, there will never be another World Championship Grand Prix in Canada because it's $1.5 million easy to run a World Championship Grand Prix. But we got to do it. We got to do it in 1984, 85, and 86. So all these events took place at Motor Park.
Over the next 40 years, Motor Park continued their 5-day summer camps, hosting club races on weekends, as well as their own race events.
Just getting ready to serve the steak and chicken barbecue for this CMX National, and everybody's looking forward to it.
Carl has been able to foster an amazing sense of community, and one pro rider has felt at home since first coming here.
So Carl tells me a story that he met me when I was about 13 years old at the Niagara Falls Arena Cross that he was putting on. I don't really remember that, but in, like I said, the year 2000, we were out here for a local motor park race, and he approached us, and basically what had happened was he asked me to come and help with the summer camps. And once I helped with the summer camps for about a week and a half, it became a sponsorship, and I hung out for the rest of the summer, and I was on Team Motor Park for 2001.
The family actually moved up to Dundalk, which is, they were from Niagara Falls area. And I was able to get a sponsorship deal through Suzuki. And we sponsored Zeb, and of course all my other events were going on at the same time. And when he got out of high school, well, he was in high school, we would hire him here to work at the races and work around. And when he got out of high school, we actually hired Zeb as our operations manager for the park, and he was also our chief instructor.
It's hard not to learn from him, and basically somebody to look up to and to check things off the list and to make sure that I'm doing it correctly.
Basically, Zeb is actually the face of the park now. So when we do our promotions or whatever it happens to be, the young people, they're not much interested in talking to someone my age. They're more interested in talking to a guy like Zeb. So you probably saw him down there doing the awards, handing out all the awards. They would much rather get their award from Zeb than they would from me, and especially the young kids. So yeah, you just have to see your place and kind of step back a little bit and let these other guys start doing the job, you know. I'd like to thank Tim Bellamy for putting forth the effort to have me inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he did a tremendous amount of work this winter in putting everything together for me. Appreciate that. We've all had mentors in our lives, and a lot of people have said that I've mentored a lot of people, and believe me, there's been a lot of people that have mentored me as well, and we all need them.
There isn't anybody that's been around a long time in motorcycling in Ontario and in Canada and in the world, actually, because he's well respected amongst all the Europeans because of his involvement, that don't know Carl Bastedo.
I mean, the list goes on and on, but he was with Team Canada, he's done all that stuff. He started at Kawasaki back in, I might get the dates wrong, the 70s. He was the first one to bring in pro riders from other countries or the States. Again, the list goes on, and we'll be here for days talking about Carl's accolades.
I see Carl's footprint everywhere, and I think that is going to be his legacy more than anything. You know, from the stories that I see prior to my involvement, the 60s, where he raced at the International 6-Day Trials, and to managing a corporate team and developing that and developing the riders to a standard that the rest of the world had.
Although I did so many things that were bigger than Motopark, but this is sort of where I've ended up. It's not as big as running a supercross race in Skydome or running a Cycle Canada show at BC Place Stadium or anything like that, but or even you know, our work with the Motocross of Nations. The 10 years that we traveled to Europe and did that. But yeah, Motopark is probably the legacy